Hey folks, Kozzi here, continuing on with our Feln control draft. Just quickly starting off in the deck builder again. As I am wont to do in between breaks and having experienced a couple of games, there's just a couple of small tweaks I wanted to make with the deck. I was thinking about the idea of perhaps going down one sigil in the deck based on the fact that I have Seek Power and adding in an extra Herald Song. The rationale being that by having extra card draw, that's what allows us to get into drawing our sigils so that we keep developing our deck on curve. But also the fact that being an echo card, it's an additional copy of a card for Hatchery Hunter. I feel as though it could give us a little bit of extra value and help us get through the deck. So rather than sigil floating, if I'd drawn a Herald Song instead of one of those sigils towards the end, I feel as though I still would have drawn the sigils I needed to get up to playing my top end, like Hatchery Hunter, the Dragon, and Vara, but I would have also had the extra card as well. So trying that out, just seeing whether the extra little bit of draw helps me, and we'll go from there. It is one of the things that I quite like about Eternal in comparison to some of the other collectible card games formats is the fact that you can edit your deck in between each round. I guess it kind of makes up a little bit for the lack of sideboarding, but especially if you're like me and still finding your feet in the format and trying to work out where to stand, it gives you that opportunity to I guess learn on the fly rather than feel as though you're locked into something. Whilst I have a curve, if I draw a runner sigil, I don't want to trust that because I'll be dead otherwise if I don't. And I'm on the play rather than on the draw, so we'll be shipping this. I do prefer this hand even though it looks a little bit weaker. I'm not too nervous about the Diafang Spider. I feel as though it just gives me a nice target for my Acolyte, and it's definitely not going to present too much of a clock that I'm worried about. Well, we've had a lot of Feln control matchups. So the thing I need to decide to do is whether I want to continue developing how many other X1s I think he's likely to play to get value out of Plague. I feel as though I can afford to wait at least one more turn, and if that's the case, I'm not incentivized to play either of these. So, even though it's still, again, slightly power inefficient, I think I'd rather set the snare and see how many I can get out of my Plague. So he was scheming to try and find a sigil. He didn't find a sigil, so he's in a little bit of trouble there. Makes me think that next turn he'll try and play something cheap if he's got anything. So I'm happy to wait one more turn and just keep developing my board in the meantime. I don't need to run him in. I'm in no major rush with this current clock. So interestingly, he's got some kind of trick. I imagine that's most likely the purple combat trick. So I want to make sure that well, how greedy do I want to get and think I can get a sigil? Probably not very. It's just not worth it in this scenario. He might also have Levitate. They're both perfectly fine by me. So it's interesting, for argument's sake, let's say that this was the sigil that I took out and the Herald Song I took in. I need to work out which one I'm happy with. If I play my Sprite on him now and he has any kind of removal to kill the Sprite, he'll get in and kill something else as well. If I turn him into a 1-1, I can sit back with both of my blockers feeling relatively comfortable. And if I attack in with my Stonescar Magus, he's certain to block it because it will stop the value. Yeah, I still don't think I'm in a major rush right now. We'll just slow him down. Take the extra look in with levitate. Actually, do I want to play it now? If I play it in now, I can get 2 damage. I can get in 2 damage anyway just by attacking. So I doubt he'll be willing to trade. And yeah, on second thoughts, I think I actually want to play the levitate now, see if I manage to catch a sigil just to keep my development. Which I don't, which is fine, because next turn, if he can't do anything, we can get rid of the Desperado. Speaking of which... I'm leaving myself vulnerable to Lightning Storm, but I feel as though I'm okay with that. Well, now I get to find out whether I actually am okay with that, but yeah. See what we can find, and I'd definitely prefer a blind storyteller. So, I have a creature that's soft removal and I can keep developing. Or I can just drop the sigil and trust the fact that I'll find one naturally. I think for now I'd rather respond to his board. He's been... Now that doesn't cost 1, so I don't think that was the stop that we saw before. Just curious. You can tell we both definitely have control on mine by the power and toughness of the creatures that he selected. Is there any disincentive to threaten to attack? Yeah, he could have Lightning Strike and I don't feel like trading away Drow that cheaply. There is an argument to be made that I should be thinking about not playing these cheap creatures on the assumption that I'll get my top end coming through, but I feel as though the evasion is more valuable to me right now. I definitely don't want to attack with the Ice Sprite. And now I'm regretting a little bit not keeping that last sigil. Okay. It's not the worst for me, especially as it's one less levitate that he'll have once I do get my last piece of power. There's a non-zero chance here that he could be giving him Quick Strike. Okay, that's really interesting that he's Dark Returning him, because he's not an amazing creature. Which makes me feel relatively comfortable. I don't care too much about his stats, so I'd be happy just to annihilate him. That being said though, I'm not going to be getting in on the attack, so I should just keep it for the element of surprise. If I'm really lucky, he'll equip it. It's definitely unfortunate. I'm not attacking in, so I think we just continue to develop. Yeah, I think I've traditionally underrated this card quite severely. It's generally performed very, very well whenever I've seen it. So if I drop Dural and I stun the Vulture, I can attack in. He can still have good attacks, or reasonable attacks, not amazing. I actually think I'm better off just continuing to develop. Can wait until next time. That way I can threaten a lot more damage. I feel on a comfortable enough light total that I'm willing to abide my time. Or rather, willing to attack in. I'm not too concerned about the swing back. Especially as he's going to need to be scrambling for flying blockers. Yeah, very, very happy getting a 2-for-1 here. So if I play Vara, I can get back a Stone Sky Magus or an Amethyst Acolyte. He'll hit me for 8 in the air, putting me on 14. Can I afford to take that much damage? Because he'll also plausibly swing in and I'll need to double block there. Or I can just kill the Horse Snatcher Bat, take my 3 and then continue on. I feel as though, even though it's not using my power as efficiently it can, I think that's what I'd rather do. So now the question is, do I target? Blocking back he has 6 power, assuming it's all of those who stay back against my Vara. So I could turn that into a 0-3 or a 2-4. Or I could just slow down the clock because I'm currently on a 6 to 7 turn clock. Yeah, that could be what I prefer. Or I just take the Magus. Actually, if I draw another shadow creature as well, I can keep putting pressure on with the -1s. No, we'll go for the Magus first, I feel. We might as well just get as much value as we can right now. I'll learn my lesson from last game, we won't play the Sigil. Now we'll just hope on something like a Dark Return. It's not a bad draw. Not a bad draw at all. So if I attack in, he's going to be in for some very rough trades. He's currently got 6, so I'll have to be a 3 for 1, but then I don't get the advantage of playing any other shadow units. 2, 4, 5 is not enough unless he has a spell. He's definitely been sitting on spells. I think I should wait for at least one turn and reassess after that. Wouldn't surprise me to learn he has a lightning strike and 2 for 1s, and that's just not the value I want to get. Though that definitely makes life more challenging for me. Not good, not good, not good. So I really can't afford to attack with too many creatures, because if I do, he's already doing 6 damage on me, so I'm on a virtual 4. All he needs is to get another 2 creature overlap. But by the same token, I can't afford to sit and do nothing. If Farah dies, can I feasibly win? If Farah lives, can I feasibly win? Ah, man, this is not a good spot I've put myself into. If I draw the hatchery guy next turn, I'll be able to play him plus 2 blockers. Yeah, I need to start getting some pressure off and trading off this board. Okay, no strike, just jumping. So I made the wrong decision last turn. Yep, he's gotten one of my Herald songs, which I would have really loved to have seen. And that's me. It's a lot of sigils, considering I was sitting on 4 in hand. Although I did find myself in a very tricky spot. Yeah, it's weird. I don't feel as though I lost card advantage in those exchanges, but I was massively down on board presence. Really not sure where that went AWOL. Okay, so we're up against the Teriyaki Boys again. This is actually quite a few hours later, so I don't imagine they're on the same deck as what we saw them playing before. I'm on the draw. If I draw one more sigil, this hand is pretty good. Until I get all my sigils, though, that's effectively a missing card. But I think also having the Herald Song to help me find more power. Yeah, I'm quite happy with this. I don't think I'll keep it on the play. I think it'll be a lot more dubious then. But I feel as though if I get 2 sigils, this will be quite a reasonable hand. Perhaps they are on the same deck and they took a break. It was Feln before, wasn't it? Okay, no, I definitely don't remember seeing that. Shame we don't have a 2-drop to put pressure on the grunt, but instead we'll just take a look. The Plague is a good card here. I currently have 4 power, so I'll be going up the curve for everything except for the Thunder Strikes. I don't really want to get rid of those. And all of these are pretty premium cards, so I think I'll just lose my other Herald Song. War Grunt gets in for 1. And I wonder if he's digging for power. No. Chooses to develop his board, which is very understandable. And I don't think a Plague will help me much here. So instead I'll just try and stabilize with a bit of life gain. If he offers the trade, I think I take it. I've stopped him from war crying for a turn, which is about all I can ask, then I'll stop him for another 2. And I've really done all I want to do, which is buy time till I get up to my dragons. No worries. Well, I was incorrect on saving that war cry then. I thought I could leave him back. On the bright side, he's definitely not developing his board at the moment, so... So I now have the option. I can attack in, get my development now. If I play a Frostkin and a Storyteller, I am leaving that exposed to removal for a turn, but blue-green doesn't have great hard removal. It'd need him to be attacking or something like that to get his value. Yeah, I'm happy with that. There is a chance that I get my Sigil, and I might have exposed that unnecessarily for 2 turns, but I do think these are colours that I feel much safer against. It'd be very different if he was playing Shadow or Fire. I'd need to consider that a lot more carefully. Looks like he could be screwed on his factions. I know there's a lot of strong double green. We take the 4 and then we get our 2 for 1, I imagine. Although I could just keep developing my board. If he pumps it again, I definitely have the offer of multi-block. Yeah. Oh, but we're missing our influence. That changes things. If I play Plague now, I stop him from war crying in the future. And I make it so that a double block is a 1-for-1 trade. And it saves my feeding time for something that's more premium. However, this is the deck of equipment. Yeah, I think especially stopping his war cry is the casting vote for me. I want to dig deeper, and I probably should have done that first if I knew it. Ooh, that sucks. That really, really sucks. I think that and Vara would have been the only two cards that I wouldn't have automatically looted. If I choose to loot here, I'm most likely going to have to discard the levitate or whatever I draw. Given these done nothing, we'll just wait. Really paining for that last part of the faction. Oh, okay, so why is he attacking all of a sudden? He didn't offer the trade last time. If he has some kind of combat trick, I want to get it out of his hand, so... Although if it's +3/+3... I'll be 2-pointing myself rather than 1-pointing. Alright, we'll let it get in this once. And we'll hopefully draw into something useful. Primal Sigil's nice. I think what I want to do is to play the Thunderstrike Dragon, or play the removal. Let it. I don't know what I want to do. Let's be honest. If I play the Thunderstrike Dragon, I can continue to sit back and represent a block. That allows me a double block that won't get blown out by a +3/+3 pump. If he plays something I can't handle, I can choose to chump, remove, and then the following turn make myself quite a few flyers. Yeah, that sounds like it's what I want to do. So we'll just sit back. He could have that blue removal that does... Yep. And that's okay. Given that I've respected a pump spell from him once, I probably need to respect it again. So 3 damage is a lot, but no, I don't want to lose my board when I'm just about to have a strong stabilize. I don't want him to get any more card advantage. Especially whilst I'm trying to atrophy him out. Does that include removal? Alrighty, I live and learn. What I'll do is I will use this card to give myself the option of a double block. I'm not attacking in here because all I want to do is preserve my life. I imagine he definitely has a pump spell. So the Sky Snapper gets in. Ideally that's the last time you'll get in. 3/6 is a little bit painful. So I can either play 2 Sky Serpents and loot, or I can play all 3 and just wait. I think... what's the chances of him having a harsh roll? Because that will hurt. If I play 2 and he plays Harsh Rule, I still have a flying blocker that's useful, and I've had the chance to loot rather than being stuck with a sigil. If I play all 3, yeah, I think I want to play it safe. I should have done this first, so I had a chance to see what was going on. Because this changes everything. It really, really does. It allows me to kill the Copper Hall recruit and then attack in. I might actually wait until it's his turn though. If he manages to get him with 1 more attack because he has removal, then so be it. If he has the pump spell to save him, then that's even better for me, because I'll be able to kill it when he tries to pump it. Permafrost is fine. I'm happy to take 3 more damage this turn, so I think it'll be close to the last damage I take. If he pumps it, I'll kill it. And we'll sit tight for the time being. And I don't want to be looting the sigil away, because I'd rather just keep the mana up for Annihilate. We can afford to be patient here. I tell you what, if he has the Harsh Rule, I'm going to be a weird mixture of being so impressed and so sad at the same time. If he had a Vanquish, he would have used it a while ago. Instead, he's trying to get him damage. I won't declare blocks. Maybe to take a look, see if we can find something else that's useful. She's certainly useful, but I also want that sigil, so I'm not interested in looting anything away. Is there anything good for me to get back? Zen and Destroyer is about it. That being said, that is very good for me. Gaining life is precisely what I'd like to do about now. Especially as in theory I can save this Annihilate. Because if he attacks in with the Reckless that he has to, he's probably priced. He very seriously has to consider whether he's going to use a pump spell on it. I tell you what, he has the removal he needs to keep giving it space. Yep. So in this scenario, I think I want to thin my deck, loot it away, keep up the 2 for Annihilate, sit back because I don't have any profitable attacks. How much do I want to show him that I have access to my Thunderstrike Dragon again? Mana efficiency could matter if I want to have the choice, so yeah. We'll do this now. And all I have to do really is live out one more turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6. So I should hopefully be right. I just need to be very careful about what blocks I line up, assuming he still has that pump. Oh, he can only attack with one less. That's excellent news. Yeah, if you attack with that, I'm just double blocking, so I don't think that's the best plan. I'm very happy to trade those out now. So I have a choice. I can play Huge Flyer, or I can get my lifelink back on. And I actually think what I want to do right now is get my lifelink back on, just to get out of that danger zone. Even if it's only 3 life that he swings in for, I want it, so. And we'll keep the sigil so I can loot it away later with my storyteller. So as far as attacks go, he's compulsory. I feel as though I'm happy to attack him with her, because if they double block, I can annihilate and then cast my Thunderstrike Dragon, and they're in quite a lot of trouble. Am I happy with only gaining 3 life? I think that's about all I need. Especially as if I cast another shadow. Yep. Okay, I'm happy with that. Small argument could have been made for either killing the Copperhole recruit to get more aggressive, or the Watchwing, so I could have stopped one Warcry, but I feel as though right now I'm in a pretty solid position. So again, happy to attack with those two, as I'll have another dragon coming in soon. And we get there. Being able to Dark Return the Thunderstrike Dragon is very, very sweet. It also means that I'm still currently just slightly above a 50% ratio. I feel as though this deck is better than 3-3, so I really hope that this next match goes well. Very, very interesting matchup, how easily they're able to deal with all of my flyers, but definitely were able to grind them out in the end, with all of our bombs looking just as impressive as you'd hope they'd be. So this is a rubbish hand. Let's see what else we can get. And this I'm very happy with, yeah. Vara's a dead card for quite some time, but hopefully we'll be able to dig into things that are more useful for us. We'll seek to try and have a balanced representation of factions. So I have a decision point here as to whether I want to cast my Blind Storyteller and expose it. I feel as though there's just no point in it whatsoever, especially as I don't have a turn 3 play. So worst case scenario on turn 3, I can play him. and activate him straight away. Do I want to cantrip? No, I feel as though I'm okay right now. I do think now I want to see what else I've got. If I manage to draw a 2-drop. False Prince is a ludicrously good card. It's a shame I didn't keep that levitate. I could have levitated him and then plagued. So that's come back to bite me almost immediately, which seems like many of my mistakes seem to do. I think I definitely do want to kill him. He's just going to be putting on too much of a clock. But yeah, at the time I didn't know that he was also playing Primal. Okay, so he's doing more than just that. It looks as though he's a time-centric splash whatever's good deck. I can play my Amethyst Acolyte and kill the Temple Scribe, but I don't think that makes any sense. I think I'm better off putting -1/-1 on the Horn Valunk, and then later on it gives me the opportunity to trade once I play Plague. Yeah, I'm really paying for that decision because I also feel like I don't want to expose the Blind Storyteller again, but if I hadn't have done it that way and instead I'd played her and looted, I would have had her on the table now to spend my extra 2 power as well as the Amethyst Acolyte to use my power a lot more efficiently. So yeah, I'm definitely paying for that decision. Next turn it doesn't look like I'm going to be using. Well, next turn I can Plague, Blind and Loot if I want to, so it's 1 turn, 2 turns of loot that I've missed out on. So I have a decision point of whether I'd want to look for something and potentially loot away the Herald, or I can loot and then Plague to start to make this table more manageable. Yeah, I feel as though I definitely at the least look. That'll take me down to 3, so either I can present a blocker and just take an extra 3 points. Yeah. And she is much, much better. So we'll get rid of the Eastwind Herald. We'll cast Plague. Next turn I can Sprite if I want to. And the good news is we pop the Aegis, so if need be, my Ice Sprite can target her. Or him. I'm happy for the trade here. So the question is, what could I draw that is better than these? And I feel as though I loot regardless. If I happen to get my dragon, then I can choose to remove one of my pieces at removal. If I happen to get a 2-drop that's rubbish, I can still play these anyway. And I dig 1 card deeper into my deck. It's about the only card that makes me tempted. I feel as though the hard removal is better than a creature that could get removed, especially with the colours that he's in, so I think we'll just choose to get rid of the Sprite. There's no need to rush this, so we'll wait until his turn before using my Annihilate. How much do I want to take the extra damage to see what 6-drop he could possibly play? I either take 16 and I'm on an 8-turn clock, or I take 4 going to 14, and then I'll be on a 7-turn clock once I've killed him. Or, yeah, because I'll still have the opportunity of feeding time if I need to. Alright, we'll wait, take the extra 2 and then see what comes. Another false prince is very, very bad news for me. Start to deal with this clock. So I have 2 choices right now. I can either play my sigil, working on the assumption that I'll be able to play Vara soon, but I'm then also reliant on not only getting an additional sigil, but it has to be a shadow sigil. And if I do, he's going to be getting through and he'll get the snowball to kill my storyteller. Perhaps I just accept the fact that Vara is not going to be played this game and loot. I think that's what I've got to do. You gotta love it when a deck has a sense of humor. Alright, well, we're in the same position we were before, except for the fact that this time I know I have my loyalty. I have a choice. I can either have a faster clock and be on 2-turn clock and keep my blind storyteller, or I can be on a 3-turn clock, is it? 4-turn clock, so yeah. It's definitely worth having feeding time on the false prince. And now we just need to really, really hope that we rip a sigil from the top of the deck. Or a dragon. Basically anything that's useful. Actually, it's a nice spot to be in. So a sigil is a good draw for me. Card draw is a reasonable draw for me. Any kind of creature that isn't like a 1 or a 2 drop is good for me. And the fact that he gave his Acolyte flying instead of the Yeti Snowslinger has worked out very well for me. Now all I need to do is work out a way of dealing with this Aerial Ace within 5 turns. Well, that's not all I need to do. I also need to make sure he doesn't rip anything else that's a problem. Such as that. We're definitely trading here. In my deck, I know I still have at least 2 more flyers. I'll definitely keep the sigil in case I get a hatchery guy. Although, it's now a bad draw for me. And that's going to be a real problem for me to deal with, so I'm effectively just praying he bricks. This allows me at least to break Aegis. I'll trade off here, take another 2, see what else I can find. And I know that he hasn't drawn a unit because it hasn't played the Echo. And... oh, okay. What do you do in a scenario like this? So it's an Echo unit that's been double echoed, I guess. Oh, it's the 5/4. Yeah, okay. It's a 5 mana 4/4 that gives him the Fate Snowball, which is pretty impressive. What do you do there, eh? Oh, man. I feel like that's a real shame. That was a real shame. If he had echoed any other unit, I still would have had a couple of chances to look at the top of my deck. The draws that I had that were still live, I could have gotten myself a Dark Return, I could have found my other Annihilate, and Eastwind would have blocked him for a while. Fanatic was a dead draw. Plague would have slowed the clock. Wisdom would have been fine. Xenon would have delayed. Feeding Time, I used both of them. Hatchery Hunter, yeah. So I was really drawing life then. But unfortunately, the odds just didn't stack up. Which is a shame. I feel as though this deck was pretty sweet. I feel as though it was really sweet. I feel as though I definitely had the card draw I needed. I would have really loved to have a second Wisdom of the Elders to have seen that a little bit more often. I definitely made a huge mistake in that last match in just choosing to cantrip the Levitate. And perhaps that's me being too eager, being the control player and just hoping to get... being the aggro player at heart and just wanting to use my cards to use my efficiency. But yeah, live and learn. I feel as though in the hands of a more experienced control player, that could have done well. Well, it'll take me a little while now, cracking through Standard again. Whilst I had an extra pack as a prize from one of my quests, I'll still need to earn probably another couple of thousand gold. Song of War's not overly exciting at all. I think the one card I'm really hoping on is that pig guy. This is great in Limited, but I don't think I'll find too much of a home. Anyway, that was that. That was Feln Control going to a 50%. 50%? Yeah, 50% outcome. A little bit disappointing considering what we had, and that I made a couple of mistakes that were definitely avoidable. If you managed to get through and watch to the end of that match, thank you. I do appreciate you having a watch, and I hope you've learned something. Feel free to have a chat. I'll be putting up a link to some of the other videos that you may find interesting, and also the opportunity for you to subscribe, so that way you can always get the first notification of whenever one of these new videos comes out. And yeah, cool. Thanks very much for your time, and I'll see you next time. This has been Kozzi for Pick One Pack One.